Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with another video, and this time we're doing a really long set of nails. So as you can see, her nails were already long, but she wants some longer. So I had been using some different tips that were already really long, but they would break really easily, so we had to find something else that would work. And not too long ago, She's Guru on Instagram did a two-tip method, which I had seen before, but I never, actually decided to try it out until I seen her do it. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I was going to go ahead and just do a fill because she was late, so I didn't think I was going to have time to go ahead and do a full set, but I decided to just go ahead and do that. So as you can see, I just went ahead and trim down her nails, and then I'm just going in with a quartz drill bit to just file down her acrylic as much as I can. That way the soaking process does not take as long. So again, I'm going to go ahead and just do a full set. We're just filing down the acrylic to make sure that we don't soak for years. So we're going to go ahead and do this on all of the nails, and then we're going to start the soaking process. Alrighty, so once we've finished thinning down the nails, we're going to go ahead and just soak the nails in pure acetone. And I'm using these little soaking bowls. So again, we're just filing down the acrylic. If I was to just put the nails in there just how they are, it would take a long time just because the acrylic is pretty thick. So that's why you want to go in there and just file down the acrylic. And then it's a little bit thicker, especially because we had colored acrylic on there. So make sure that you do not skip this step. If not, you're going to be soaking for a really long time. So after filing down the acrylic on this hand as well, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. We're just filling up the bowls with pure acetone, and then we're going to let them sit there for about 15 minutes. And after it's been soaking, we're going to go ahead and I go in with a paper towel and just wipe off the acrylic that's been soaking off for a while. And then I go in and file down on the acrylic a little bit more, just because some of the acrylic has already been soaking, so it's going to fall off really easily, and that way it's going to speed up the process even more. So again, we let them soak for 15 minutes, and then we remove some of that soaked off acrylic that was on the nail, and that's just going to thin the nail out even more, and it's going to speed up the process a lot more. You don't necessarily have to do this step, but it will help with speed. And again, at first I was going to do it just a feel, and then I decided to do a full set. So I was really short on time because she was running a little bit late. But I did make sure that I text my next client to let her know that I was running a little bit late. And this is something that you're going to have to do, every now and then to accommodate your clients. Even though she was late, I still went above and beyond to try to get her in and do what she wanted, because at the end of the day, they are paying you. And then also, she's one of my favorite girls, so I just had to do what I had to do. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and just finish off. Again, I'm just filing down the acrylic a little bit more, and then we're gonna let them soak for another 10 minutes. Alrighty, so the acrylic is completely gone on this hand. So now we're just going to start the process. So of course, the first thing that we do is push back the cuticles. After that, we go in with a 180 sanding band to remove the shine from the natural nails. And remember, you don't want to use anything more coarse than a 180, because we don't want to file down too much on their natural nail. And then once we've removed the shine, of course, we're going to start applying the nail tips. And again, for this set, we're going to be using the 2-tip method, where we glue a tip over the other one to make it longer. And then you're going to see how that goes. But I'm just going to be using my natural nail tips. These are not the ones that I use all the time. These are actually a little bit longer, and I get these from my local nail supply store. The only thing that I don't like about these is that they're a little bit thin, like on the thinner side. So whenever you file, you have to be careful that they don't bend. So you have to hold them on the side. But again, they are a little bit longer than my other ones. So as you can see there, what I did is I literally just applied, the first tip like you normally would. And then the second tip, I just glued it right on the tip of that one. And then I'm going to go ahead and tell you that on this ring finger, I did apply the wrong tip, because I have I have 3 different type of clear nail or natural nail tips. I have the ones that I always use that are thicker, that I sell on my website. I have the ones that I applied on the pinky, which are a little bit longer. And then I have the one that I applied on a ring finger that are even longer, and they curve even more. And I didn't realize that that's what I applied. So I am going to go ahead and remove the one on the ring finger later on, because I didn't realize it until afterwards. But it just curved way too much, and it just looked weird to begin with. So that's when I realized that that was the wrong type of tip. But again, once you apply the first tip, you just apply the glue on the second tip, and just apply it over that first tip right at the tip. Probably like not even I won't say an inch, but like I don't even know how much. But as you can see, I'm just going in like right on the tip, not too far out on the edge, but just make sure that it's on there really good. And then I was using like the same size tip, or if you need to go up a size, that's fine too. Alrighty, so again, we applied that first tip, and then now we're going to go ahead and apply the glue on the second tip and glue it right at the tip. And then the process after this is going to be just the same as always. We're going to go ahead and trim the nails down, because of course those were way too long. So we just trim them down a little bit, and then we're going to go in and start shaping the nails as always. So again, you will see me come back later on and cut down the ring finger, because I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's like way too curved. So I'm going to remove that one and apply another tip just like the rest of them. And then now I'm just going in and just trimming down the sides of the nails, because we are doing a coffin shape. So as always, this is just going to save us time. And now I'm going to go in with a 100 nail file to reshape the nail, or to shape the nails. And remember that when you're doing this, because they are really long and like those tips are a little bit thinner, you want to make sure that you're holding the tip when you're filing. That way it doesn't cause, stress on their nails, and then also that way you don't break the nail tip off. But again, we're just going to shape normally like we always do, and then after this we're going to go ahead and move on to the next step, and this is the nail that I'm going to come back in and trim down. So when I trim it down, I'm going to go ahead and just get a cotton ball with acetone. I'm going to use the little soaking clip, and I'm going to let it soak while I'm doing the rest of the nails. Again, if you didn't get it, the reason why I'm removing this nail is because I applied the wrong tip. It is a natural tip, but this one curves a way more, and you can definitely tell whenever I turn it over to the side. So you will see me come back in and trim it down.
I don't deny there's some strange evolutionary process going on, but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that.
And also when I'm blending the tips right in the middle, I'm making sure that I blend the other tip at the edge as well. And here's how they look after we shaped them. They look pretty good actually. You can't even tell, like if it wasn't for that little line at the bottom, you wouldn't even be able to tell that it was two tips. But we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other hand. This hand was still soaking the whole time that I was doing the first hand. So we're going to do the same thing all over again. I'm just removing a little bit of that soaked off acrylic off, and then we're going to go in and just reshape the nails, push back the cuticles, remove the shine from the natural nail, apply the nail tips, trim them, and shape them. So same thing all over again.
I don't deny there's some strange evolutionary process going on, but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that. But mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that. but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today.
Alrighty, so once we're done with this, I'm going to go ahead and of course just dust the nails off, and then we're going to start the acrylic application. So as always, I'm going to be using my Mia Secret acrylic system in the color pink, and then also we're going to apply the primer, and as always for my primer, I'm going to be using my OPI Bondex. And remember, we only apply this on the natural nail. We don't want to get it on the skin because if they have any little cut, it will burn them really bad. And then also for my brush, I'm going to be using my Alpha brush in a number 10. And as you guys know, I had been using a number 9 for so long, and I am in love with this number 10. It's like the perfect size. But anyways, I applied my first bead right in the middle of the nail, brushing it down towards the tip. The second one, I applied it right below that one. And remember that when you are doing longer nails, you do want to make sure that you, for one, have the right thickness, because if they're too thin, they will break off really easily. But most importantly, you want to make sure that you have a nice apex, because with it being so long, that's where your nail is really going to get its strength from. So if you bump your nail on anything, if you have a really weak apex, or if your nail is just really thin in general, then you will get breakage. So make sure that you focus on that, and then remember that you don't necessarily have to stick to a certain method. As you can see, I'm applying quite a few beads right at the tip because I can tell that it's still pretty thin there, and then I moved on to around the cuticle area. Remember that when you apply that bead around the cuticle area, you don't want to place it right on the cuticle. Place it really close to it, and then when you pat it down, the acrylic kind of just spreads out really close to the cuticle area. But you don't want it to be right on the skin, because if not, you will get lifting. And then of course, if you do get it on the skin, just go in with the very tip of your brush and just wipe around that cuticle area to get any of that product off. And again, remember, I cannot stress that enough, that you want to make sure that when you're working, you're looking at the nail from different angles. That way you don't have any bumps and lumps, and also to make sure that you have a really good apex. That way you are not going to get breakage. So for the most part, I try to stick to the 4-bar method as always. But obviously that was way more than 4 beads. But since it is my first time doing them this long, or with this method, you know, I'm trying to make sure that I have a nice thickness as well as a nice apex. That way she doesn't come back with broken nails.
I don't deny there's some strange evolutionary process going on, but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that.
And also, just a little reminder that when you're working, you want to make sure that you wipe your brush off on the paper towel as often as you can. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I wipe my brush off a lot. And that's just so the acrylic does not get stuck in our brush, because once that product gets stuck in the brush, the acrylic is going to keep building up and building up and building up to the point where you just are not going to be able to lay your acrylic down smoothly, because that acrylic is going to keep getting stuck to your brush. And sometimes when I am working with a lot of product like I am here, that still happens anyways. Even if you wipe your brush off really good, you know, a little piece of acrylic might get stuck in your brush and you don't see it or something, and that's gonna happen. But I am gonna be switching my brush closer to the end, and I'm gonna switch over to the Nail Supply Glamour brush that I got not too long ago. I think I used it in another video, and I really like it. The only thing about it, I feel like it's way too flat to where it doesn't like absorb that much liquid, because it's really thin. Could I say it's thin? I don't know that it's too thin, but it is really flat, so it doesn't absorb a lot of liquid, so it doesn't pick up that big, like that big of a bead, I guess I could say. if that makes sense. But anyways, remember again, look at the nail from different angles. I cannot stress that enough. I could say it a million times if I could, but you're not going to be able to catch everything from just looking at the nail from this angle. From the top, you want to make sure that you look at the nail from the sides, and that's going to tell you where you need to add more acrylic, because you're going to be able to see if your cuticle area is too thin, if your tip is too thin, if you don't have a nice apex. So that's why anytime you see me lift the nail up, that's me looking at it from the side.
I don't deny there's some strange evolutionary process going on, but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that.
Alrighty, so same thing for the thumb. We place that first bead right in the middle where the natural nail and the tip meets. We brush it down towards the tip, making sure that we brush really, really good. That way the acrylic is nice and smooth. The next bead, we're going to place it right below that one. Again, patting it down and brushing it down towards the tip. And this is going to make sure that we have that nice thickness at the tip. That way our tip doesn't break off. The next one, we're going to place it right behind that one. And remember, again, as you can see, I'm brushing down a lot. You want to make sure you do that. A lot of the time, I don't know if you guys will see or think that I just brush too much, but that's me making sure that my nail is nice and smooth. And as you can see, instead of doing the third bead closer to the back, I applied it at the tip because my tip was a little bit thin. And then I went back in with my fourth bead, which is closer to the cuticle area, again, brushing it down towards the tip. Next, of course, we're going to apply the other one even closer to the cuticle area, and this is going to create our apex. Make sure that we blend it right in the middle and brushing it down towards the tip. That way it creates a nice apex, and then it still gives us a little bit more product at the tip, so we have a nice thickness. And also, if you pay attention, you will see that I also wipe the sides of the nails off, like you will see me doing right here. And that's just so the acrylic does not take away from our shape. A lot of the time when you apply the acrylic, it's going to run over to the sides and it's going to take away from your shape a lot. So that's how you prevent from that happening. And that way at the end, you won't have a lot of falling to do. Alrighty, so now we're going to go ahead and move on to the other hand, and we're going to do the same thing all over again. So again, we place the first bead right in the middle where the natural nail and the tip meets. The next one right below that one, the third one above it, the fourth one over it, and then of course just add more if you need it, and making sure that you have a nice apex and a nice thickness at your tip.
I don't deny there's some strange evolutionary process going on, but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that. but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that. I don't deny there's some strange evolutionary process going on, but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that.
Alrighty, so once I'm done applying the acrylic, I'm going to show you what they look like afterwards. As you can see, they're really nice and smooth. We have a nice apex, and the only thing is the edges are rough, but that's normal. We'll get rid of that whenever we come back in to reshape the nails. Alrighty, so after this, we're going to go in and just start reshaping the nails. As always, this is just to make sure that we get that perfect shape back and also to get rid of the little rough edges that we seen in the previous little clip. So as always, just going back and forth from side to side at a 45-degree angle and then following the fridge at exactly a 90-degree angle to make sure that it's super straight. And actually on this set, I really like the shade that I got with them being so long. Like, it was so pretty. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and finish reshaping the nails. And this step doesn't take much at all because of course they're already that shape that we want. We're just going in to redefine that shape.
I don't deny there's some strange evolutionary process going on, but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that.
Alrighty, so after we finish reshaping the nails, I'm going to go in with my fine drill bit by Macquarie. And I'm just going to be filing all of the nails. So as always, we focus around that cuticle area first, going from the right side over to the left side, just going back and forth until we're able to see where the cuticle is, where the natural nail is, and where the acrylic is. That way we know that the acrylic is not on the skin. And then also I'm focusing on the side of the nails because I still had like a lot of rough edges on the side, especially on the right side for some reason. So I was trying to get rid of that as well. And then of course we don't have any bumps or lumps, but I also make sure that I go in and just file the rest of the nail to make sure that it's all nice and smooth.
I don't deny there's some strange evolutionary process going on, but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that.
And also, I wanted to mention that I am using my McCart drill. I'll be sure to leave the link in the description. I know a lot of people have been asking me why have I not been using my new Melody Susie Scarlet drill. And the reason why, I think I've already mentioned this, but the reason why is just because my McCart still works really, really good. I haven't had any issues with it. So I don't want to go ahead and open up a new drill just because I'm pretty quick at messing them up, whether it's me getting polish on them or me getting acetone on them or something. So I don't want to mess up a brand new drill just because this one still works really good. So I'd rather wait until this one goes out before I pull out a new drill. So yeah, that's the reason why. So it still works really good, this one and the Scarlet one and all of the other ones that I've done a review on, but I just choose to use one drill at a time. That way I'm not just wasting them. Alrighty, so now I'm gonna go in with my drill bit and I'm gonna try to blend the tip right at the bottom of the nail because you can see where the other tip ends and where the new one starts. So this is really where I messed up. I shouldn't have done this just because on some nails I might have filed a little bit too much, not to where of course it's not gonna affect the acrylic or anything, but you're able to see where I filed down on that tip a little bit too much. Once I flip them over, you're gonna be able to see like little spots here and there where I filed too much. So that's the only thing that I didn't like. Again, it's not gonna affect the nail, but I just don't like the way that it looks. I wanted that flawless look, but now you're gonna be able to see spots through the nail. So I think I could have just left them how they were, but again, I was just trying to make sure that I blended the two nail tips at the bottom of the nail. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and just buff the nails. I'm just using this small buffer and we're just gonna buff them really, really good. Remember, this is just to get rid of any of the scratches left on the nail from our hand file or our e-file.
The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of
Alrighty, so I had her go wash her hands and here is what they look like. As you can see those spots, especially on the index finger and the middle finger and the pinky and then the pointer finger on the other hand. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and apply the polish. I'm using this red glittery polish by Madame Glam. And then for the rest, I'm going to be using just the red gel polish by D&D. And then I'm also going to be doing Bling on the pinky. We were running really low on time. This said, I'm going to let you guys guess how long it took me to do this set. It did take me longer than it always do, but guess how long this set took me to do. Keep in mind that we had to do a soak off and a new set, so just leave in the comments below how long do you think it took me to do this set, and I'll let you guys know later on how long it actually took me. But again, we're just going in and just polishing the nails with this red gel polish by D&D, and then of course once we do the first set, we're gonna let it cure for 30 seconds under the body UV LED lamp.
mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that.
Alrighty, so now we're going to go in and do a second coat. I'm not going to do a second coat on the pinky because I'm going to go in and just apply the bling on the pinky, and it is going to be red, so I still wanted to do a red base. That way if anything falls off, it's not going to be as noticeable. Alrighty, so I'm just going in and wiping around the cuticle area and also making sure that I wipe the edges off so it doesn't take away from our shape. And now for this pinky, I applied the Mia Secret Gel Resin, and I'm going in with my wax pencil and just filling in the entire nail with the red bling. As always, I always start around the cuticle area, working my way around the perimeter of the nail, and then just filling in the rest of the nail as I go. And I am using different sizes, so just make sure that you alternate between your size. That way it's not just all one size, because that's not cute to me at all. So again, just make sure you go in and just fill the whole nail in, and it's like a little puzzle. You see a small gap, so you add a small bling. You see a big gap, you put a big rhinestone on there. So it's just going to be like a little puzzle, but you're using bling. And then of course just add the Mia Secret Gel Resin as you go. And then afterwards, once we have the full nail of bling, we're going to spray the nail with the activator to help that glue dry a lot faster.
I don't deny there's some strange evolutionary process going on, but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that.
Alrighty, and I forgot to do a second coat of the glitter polish, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and then I'm also going to go ahead and apply the IBD gel top coat on the rest of the nails.
but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that.
Alrighty, so now we're going to go ahead and apply the top coat on this hand, and then we're going to let this cure for another 60 seconds under the body UV LED lamp. And here is the final look. They turned out so pretty. That length and that shape is just perfect, and you can never go wrong with a set of red nails. So as always, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GetNail32, and I'll see you guys next time.